Stop trying to make her flirt. Make her want to. Most men push. They overtalk, over-explain, and try to manufacture chemistry with lines and effort. She smiles, but nothing opens. Why? Because flirting isn't triggered by words, it's triggered by energy. If your presence is rushed, needy, or loud, her guard stays up. If your presence is calm, playful, a little dangerous, her body relaxes and her mind leans in. Here's the switch. Create a space that feels safe but charged. Slow your voice. Hold eye contact half a second longer. Offer a light tease, then let silence breathe. Share a hint, not a history. When you stop chasing reactions and start directing rhythm, you flip the frame. She begins sending the signals, longer glances, softer tone proximity that wasn't there a minute ago. In this video, I'll give you a simple, repeatable play, the exact energy cue that makes her initiate the Stoic mindset that keeps you unshakable, and a psychology trick that turns your pauses into invitations. You'll learn how to use, deliver, and detach to spark curiosity, how to read micro-shifts without guessing, and how to end the moment at its peak, so she pursues the next one. If you've been charming yet forgettable, this is the reset. No gimmicks. Just presence, timing, and clean masculine control flirting that starts with her, not you. Let's get into it. Number 1. The energy that makes her flirt first. Let's start with something most men never realize: women don't flirt because of what you say they flirt, because of how you make them feel in your presence. It's not the line, it's the energy. When your energy is calm, grounded, and unapologetically masculine, it creates a space where she feels safe and intrigued at the same time. That's the exact moment her body language starts to shift: the hair, touch, the lingering smile, the sudden lean toward you. Those aren't accidents. That's instinct. Think about this. Women are constantly reading energy. They pick up on tone, rhythm, eye contact, the subtle micro-signals that most men overlook. If you're anxious, if your mind is screaming, "Please like me," she'll feel it before you even open your mouth. But if you walk in with quiet confidence, with an energy that says, "I'm already enough and I don't need anything from you," her curiosity ignites. That's the polarity. Your calm draws her storm. Let's use a real example. Jake, a 3-4-year-old from Chicago, told me about a night he met a woman named Emma at a friend's party. While most guys rushed in with jokes and drinks, Jake just stood back watching the room with an easy smile. When Emma finally came over to talk, he didn't jump into chatter. He just looked at her, nodded slightly, and said, "You seem like you're enjoying yourself." Then silence. She laughed, looked away, then leaned closer. Why? Because he didn't chase. His stillness made her curious. That small dose of calm energy flipped the dynamic. She started flirting to earn his attention. See, when you're too focused on performing, you lose the one thing women truly respond to: presence. Presence is magnetic because it's rare. Most men are mentally somewhere else, trying to impress, planning their next line, seeking approval. Presence, on the other hand, is what Stoic philosophy calls self-command. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." The moment you internalize that, you stop trying to control her reaction and instead master your own energy. And that's when you become the most attractive man in the room. So what does this energy look like in practice? It's slow movements, deep breathing, subtle smiles that don't need validation. It's pausing before you speak, making her feel your attention before she even hears your words. It's not intensity, it's control. The kind of control that says, "I'm not performing for you, I'm enjoying the moment with you." That's the energy that flips the script. She becomes the one chasing emotional connection. Jake later told me that by the end of the night, Emma was the one finding excuses to stay near him. He hadn't flirted in the usual way. He simply stayed grounded, and that groundedness drew her in like gravity. Because when your energy is still but confident, a woman's instinctive response is to move toward it. She'll start testing you with light touches or teasing remarks, not because she's unsure, but because she's hooked. So if you want her to flirt first, remember this: don't focus on trying to be interesting. Focus on being centered. Control the energy in the room, not the outcome. The man who doesn't rush, who doesn't need to impress, becomes the man every woman feels compelled to flirt with, not out of choice, but out of desire. Number 2. Playful silence, the unspoken invitation. Most men fear silence. They rush to fill it, thinking that if they don't keep talking, she'll lose interest. But the truth, silence when used right is the most seductive language you'll ever speak. The space between your words is where attraction breathes. It's the pause that creates tension, the unspoken rhythm that makes her heartbeat quicken, not because of what you said, but because of what you didn't say. When you master playful silence, you stop chasing validation. You allow her imagination to run wild. Every second of quiet becomes a question in her mind. What is he thinking? Why does he look so calm? Does he even like me? That uncertainty is the spark that makes her lean in, that pushes her to bridge the gap between you. This isn't about being cold or detached. It's about control. A man who can hold silence comfortably sends one powerful message: I don't need to perform for you. That self-control is magnetic. In Stoic philosophy, Epictetus wrote, "No man is free who is not master of himself." That applies perfectly here. Most men are slaves to their nerves, their need for approval, their urge to keep talking to avoid discomfort. But the Stoic man, he owns the silence. He lets it serve him. Picture this: you're talking with a woman, and the conversation slows. Most guys panic. They scramble for another topic, a joke, anything to keep the energy up. But instead you just smile, maintain soft eye contact, maybe take a sip of your drink. No rush, no noise, just presence. That moment becomes heavy with energy, and suddenly she's the one speaking first. She fills the silence because she feels the pull. That's not passive, that's psychological dominance. Playful silence isn't about ignoring her. It's about making the silence feel intentional. It's the look in your eyes that says, I see you, but I'm not rushing to get you. It's leaning in slightly when she speaks, then leaning back when she pauses, creating a rhythm where she feels both comfortable and intrigued. When done right, silence becomes the invisible touch that makes her feel you without you ever reaching out. And here's the beauty of it: the less you speak, the more power your words have. When you do talk, she listens, because your energy tells her that you don't waste words. Each sentence feels deliberate, each glance feels weighted. You turn an ordinary moment into something charged, like static before lightning. This is what Stoicism calls measured expression. It's emotional discipline in motion. The Stoic man doesn't reveal his thoughts too easily because he understands the value of mystery. In a world where everyone overshares, the man who stays quiet becomes a challenge, and attraction thrives on challenge. Remember, silence isn't emptiness, it's space. And space is what allows tension, curiosity, and desire to build. Women don't crave constant words, they crave emotional energy. Your stillness gives her something to feel, something to decode. And that's when she starts flirting, not because you asked her to, but because the silence itself became an invitation. Now tell me in the comments, do you stay calm in silence, or do you rush to fill it? Type I own silence. If you're ready to master this energy, stick with me, because what comes next will make you realize how subtle control can make her flirt harder than you ever imagined. Stay tuned. Number 3. Compliments that tease her mind, not her looks. Every man knows how to say, "You're beautiful." It's the easiest line in the book, and the one that means the least. When you say it, she hears what she's heard 100 times before. It flatters her ego, but it doesn't touch her. If you really want to stand out, stop complimenting the surface and start teasing her mind. Because a woman's attraction doesn't begin with her body, it begins in her imagination. Let's get real. A woman already knows if she's beautiful. She's been told that since high school by every man trying to win her attention. But what almost no man does is notice the details that reveal who she is, not just how she looks. Compliments that hit her mind show depth, confidence, and emotional intelligence, and that combination, that's what makes her lean in, intrigued, wanting more. Take Mark, a 42-year-old entrepreneur from Denver. He told me about this woman, Lisa, who always turned heads at his gym. Every guy tried to impress her with predictable compliments about her body. Mark didn't. Instead, one day he looked at her and said, "You have this focus when you train. It's rare to see someone that present." Lisa froze for a second, then smiled in a way that said, "You actually see me." After that, she started initiating conversations. She began teasing him, asking about his workouts, finding excuses to be near him. Mark didn't chase her beauty. He admired her presence. See, when your compliment makes her think, it hits differently. It bypasses her defenses and reaches her curiosity. She starts wondering, how did he notice that? What else does he see? That's when she begins to flirt. Not out of vanity, but fascination. The key is subtlety. Don't shower her with praise. That looks needy. The goal isn't to feed her ego. It's to engage her mind. Compliments like, "You seem like someone who doesn't let people in easily," or "You have a dangerous calm about you," hit her emotionally and psychologically. They challenge her to respond. You're not declaring desire, you're inviting curiosity. Now think about what that says about you. A man who compliments her mind rather than her looks signals restraint. It shows that you're not impressed by what everyone else sees. You're drawn to what others overlook. And that quiet selectiveness drives women wild. They realize you're not trying to get validation from them, you're giving them a moment of recognition. When you master this, compliments stop sounding like pickup lines. They start feeling like insight. They make her feel seen, not observed. They turn a casual moment into something electric, something that lingers in her thoughts long after you've walked away. That's what happened with Mark. A week later, Lisa admitted she couldn't stop thinking about what he said. His words made her feel exposed, but in a way that was safe, not judged, but understood. And that's the psychological sweet spot where connection transforms into attraction. So next time you're tempted to say, "You look amazing," stop. Look closer. Notice something about her tone, her focus, her energy. Compliment the part of her that most men never even notice. That's how you separate yourself from the crowd. That's how you make her start flirting without realizing she's doing it. If you've ever used this kind of compliment before, drop it in the comments. Or if you're ready to try it, type "I see deeply." Stay with me, because what's coming next will completely change how you use words to pull her in without saying too much. Don't go anywhere. Number 4. The subtle touch of mystery. There's something powerful about the man she can't fully figure out. The one who doesn't explain everything, who leaves just enough unsaid to make her mind race. That's the subtle touch of mystery, and it's one of the strongest psychological triggers of attraction. Because women aren't turned on by what they already know. They're drawn to what they can't quite read. Mystery isn't about pretending to be someone you're not. It's about revealing yourself slowly, like turning the pages of a book she doesn't want to end. The problem is most men do the opposite. They spill everything at once. They talk too much, reveal too soon, trying to prove they're worthy. But in doing that, they destroy the intrigue. They become predictable. And predictability is the death of attraction. A Stoic man understands restraint. He knows, as Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The more we value things outside our control, the less control we have. When you overshare, you hand over control. You give her your mystery, your power, your edge, and then wonder why the spark fades. Mystery creates curiosity. Curiosity creates emotion, and emotion, not logic, is what fuels attraction. The best part, you don't have to fake it, you just need to stop explaining yourself. If she asks what you're thinking, don't give a full answer. Smile slightly and say, "You don't want to know." Let her want to know. Let her imagination fill in the blanks, because her imagination will always make you more attractive than reality ever could. This subtle dance is psychological. The less she knows, the more she invests emotionally trying to understand you. It's the oldest form of power. That's why mysterious men, the ones who reveal little, who remain calm when others react, draw women in without effort. Their silence isn't cold, it's magnetic. Their detachment doesn't signal disinterest, it signals depth. The Stoics taught that what you withhold often speaks louder than what you express. Stillness, restraint, and composure are forms of strength. And strength in silence is deeply seductive. When you're mysterious, you shift the dynamic, you become the one she's chasing. Not for validation, but for discovery. She flirts not because she's bored, but because she's trying to solve you. Here's the truth, women don't want everything laid out for them. They crave tension, uncertainty, the slow burn of uncovering who you are piece by piece. Mystery feeds desire because desire needs distance. It's the unknown that keeps her coming back. So next time you're in conversation, don't rush to fill every gap. Don't give her your whole story. Be open but never exposed. Let her sense there's more beneath the surface, something she can't access yet. That's what keeps her hooked. And if you truly want to deepen your understanding of these principles, not just to attract women, but to master emotional control like a modern Stoic, consider joining our private membership. Inside, we go deeper into the psychology of attraction, dominance, and discipline. You'll learn how to apply Stoic calm in relationships and become the kind of man women can't stop thinking about. Click the join button below this video. Become a member today and step into your next level of masculine mastery. Now, before we move on, think about this. When was the last time you let someone stay curious about you? Type, "I hold the mystery." If you're ready to master that energy, stay tuned. The next part will show you how control and emotion blend to create a connection she can't resist. Number 5. Detach to dominate, the secret to emotional pull. Most men lose power in relationships the moment they get emotionally attached too fast. They start chasing, over-texting, worrying, wondering what she's thinking, and without realizing it, they hand her control. Detachment isn't about being cold. It's about regaining your center. It's about being the man who doesn't crumble when she pulls away because his emotions aren't ruled by her reactions. Let's take David, a 46-year-old sales executive from Chicago. After his divorce, he started dating a woman named Natalie, 38, who was vibrant, charming, and full of energy. But every time she pulled back, maybe took a few hours longer to reply, David panicked. He'd overthink every message, try harder to please her, and end up looking desperate. Eventually, she lost interest. When we talked, I told him, "You didn't lose her because you weren't good enough. You lost her because you reacted like she was your source of validation." That hit him hard. So the next time he met someone, he decided to do things differently. He kept his cool, kept living his life, didn't chase every text. When she pulled away, he stayed calm. And something unexpected happened. She started chasing him. His detachment became magnetic. You see, emotional detachment is misunderstood. It's not about not caring. It's about caring from a place of power. When you detach, you remove the energy of need. And that's what women feel most, not your words, but your energy. When you need nothing, you become everything. The truth is, emotional control is the foundation of attraction. A man who doesn't react emotionally to every shift creates a sense of safety and mystery that women crave. His steadiness makes her feel both grounded and intrigued. It's the paradox of attraction. The more you let go, the more she clings on. Stoicism teaches that freedom lies in detachment. Epictetus said, It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. When you stop reacting and start observing, you shift from being emotionally led to emotionally leading. That's the essence of masculine power. Detachment also amplifies your presence. When you're not anxiously waiting for her approval, you become more confident, more patient, more composed. You start moving differently, speaking differently. You become the man who chooses, not the one waiting to be chosen. And here's where it gets deeper. Women are wired to test a man's emotional stability. It's not manipulation, it's instinct. When she pulls back, she's subconsciously asking, "Can you handle me? Can you lead?" Most men fail that test because they confuse attachment with connection. But the Stoic man, he knows connection without control is chaos. When you detach, you don't lose emotion, you gain perspective. You still love, but you don't cling. You still care, but you don't chase. You show her that you are unshakable, and that's what makes her feel safe enough to surrender. David told me later, "When I stopped trying to keep her, she tried to keep me." That's the secret. Emotional gravity comes from calm detachment. It's the quiet force that pulls her in without you saying a word. Now tell me, have you ever noticed how women become more drawn when you stop chasing? Drop a comment and type, "I stay centered." Let's keep going, because the next part will show you how to use emotional restraint, not just to attract her, but to make her crave your energy long after you've walked away. Number 6. Tease then pause, the rhythm of seduction. Every interaction with a woman has a rhythm, a pulse, that either builds tension or kills it. Most men, without realizing it, move too fast. They chase, they talk too much, they reveal too soon. What they don't understand is that seduction isn't a race, it's a rhythm. The most powerful attraction isn't built in the constant push, it's built in the pause. Teasing, then pausing, creates emotional friction, that electric tension that keeps her wanting more. It's not just about words or touch, it's about how you manage timing. You give her just enough to spark curiosity, then you pull back before she can fully satisfy it. That's the rhythm of desire. That's how you become unforgettable. In psychology, this is called variable reward. It's the same mechanism that keeps people addicted to games or checking their phones, the anticipation of not knowing when the next high comes. When you master that pattern with a woman, she starts craving the moments you choose to engage and thinking about you during the moments you don't. The Stoics understood this principle long before modern psychology did. Seneca wrote, "The greatest blessings come not when they are continuously possessed, but when they are occasionally enjoyed." Think about that. If something is always available, it loses its value. The same applies to your attention. When you give her too much, it becomes expected. When you give her a taste, then withdraw. She starts chasing the next moment. You'll give her more. Now, this isn't manipulation, it's balance. Teasing and pausing isn't about playing games, it's about creating contrast. Without contrast, there's no tension. Without tension, there's no attraction. It's the emotional equivalent of music. If every note were loud and fast, the song would be noise. It's the pauses that make the melody breathe. Imagine this. You're talking to her, your tone calm, your smile subtle. You say something that flirts, not too obvious, just enough to make her wonder. Then you go quiet for a second. Maybe you look away or sip your drink or just let the silence hang. That pause right there is where desire builds. She'll feel it, the curiosity, the spark, the pull. She might smile, lean in, ask something to fill the space. That's when you know you've got her attention. The key is self-control. You need to feel the moment and still hold back, because power lies in what you don't do. Most men think attraction happens through constant validation. In truth, attraction happens when you interrupt the pattern, when you make her feel something she didn't expect. From a Stoic perspective, this restraint is mastery over impulse. You're not ruled by your desire to impress her or win her approval. You're guided by composure. You don't chase the reaction, you create the moment and then let it breathe. When you tease and pause, you communicate that your energy is valuable. You're not desperate for her attention. You're in control of the interaction. That's what separates the man who gets remembered from the man who gets forgotten. Women don't want to be overwhelmed. They want to be intrigued. They don't fall for the man who gives everything at once. They fall for the man who gives them something to chase, something to feel. And that rhythm, that ebb and flow of tension, is the heartbeat of seduction. Stick around, because next we'll talk about how emotional control turns attraction into obsession. You don't want to miss it. Number 7. Make her chase the conversation. Most men talk too much when they're with a woman they're attracted to. They over-explain, overshare, and try too hard to keep her entertained. But the truth is, real attraction happens when she's chasing the conversation, when she's the one asking questions, leaning in, trying to keep your attention. That's when the balance of power shifts. Let me give you an example. Jake, a 39-year-old architect from San Diego, once told me how he completely flipped the dynamic with a woman he was seeing, Emma, who was 35. The first time they met, he did what most men do, filled every silence, asked all the questions, and left the date exhausted. She didn't text back afterward. A few weeks later, he ran into her again. This time, he decided to try something new. Instead of talking non-stop, he gave shorter, calm answers. He didn't rush to fill pauses. When she asked about his work, he told her just enough to spark interest. It's demanding, but I like seeing the results. Then he turned it back to her. What kind of challenges do you enjoy the most in your job? Suddenly she opened up. She leaned in. She started asking him questions to get him talking more. By the end of the night, she said, "You're hard to read, but I like that." Jake realized something crucial that night. When you make her chase the conversation, you create emotional investment. She starts working for your attention, and what people work for they value. The secret lies in contrast. You don't give her constant validation or unlimited attention. You engage with intention, speak with purpose, listen with patience, and respond with confidence. The pauses between your words matter more than the words themselves. When you speak less but with weight, she starts paying closer attention. This is where energy plays a huge role. If your vibe says, "I'm comfortable in silence," she feels that. She senses your calm, your composure. But if your energy screams, "Please like me," she feels that too, and it kills the attraction. Women can read energy better than words. Stoicism actually aligns perfectly with this idea. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "To be calm is the highest achievement of the self." That calm doesn't just make you feel in control, it transmits control. It tells her, "I'm not desperate for your approval. I'm simply here grounded in who I am." And that grounded presence is what makes her chase your attention. When you master conversational control, you learn to create micro-mysteries. Say something intriguing, then stop. Let her curiosity pull her in. For example, instead of saying, "I had an interesting week," and explaining everything you say, "This week was different," then smile. Wait. Let her ask, "Different how?" The moment she does, she's engaged. She's chasing the conversation. Here's another subtle move. Compliment her in a way that feels incomplete. Say, "There's something about the way you talk. It's interesting." Then pause. Let her ask, "What do you mean?" That small tease builds tension. You've just turned a normal exchange into a flirtatious game. Remember, attraction isn't built through effort, it's built through tension. The less predictable you are, the more she invests emotionally. By the end of their third date, Jake told me Emma was the one texting him first, sending memes, keeping the conversation going even after midnight. That's when he knew he'd stopped chasing, and she'd started. Now let me ask you, do you dominate the conversation or do you make her chase it? Drop it in the comments and type "I make her chase." Stay tuned, because next we'll explore how emotional control turns that curiosity into real connection, the kind that lingers long after the conversation ends. Number 8. The Stoic charm, calm, is the new sexy. There's a rare kind of energy that instantly captures a woman's attention. And it's not loud confidence or flashy charm. It's calm. The kind of calm that says, "I'm in control of myself no matter what happens." In a world full of chaos, that kind of composure is magnetic. Most men think they need to be funny, talkative, or overly assertive to attract a woman. But the truth is, what really draws her in is emotional stillness. It's the quiet, grounded presence that makes her feel both safe and intrigued. Because calmness isn't the absence of energy, it's controlled energy. It's the difference between a candle flickering in the wind and a steady flame that refuses to go out. When you stay composed, you communicate a silent message: "You can't shake me." And that's the kind of masculine power women subconsciously crave. She may not even understand why, but she'll feel it: the security, the mystery, the strength. The Stoics understood this deeply. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That's not just philosophy. It's pure psychological dominance. When you control your reactions, you become the rare man who doesn't let emotions dictate his actions. You move differently. You speak with precision. You pause before reacting. That level of control is deeply attractive because it's so uncommon. Here's what happens psychologically. When a woman interacts with a calm man, her nervous system mirrors his. She starts to feel calmer just by being around him. In a subtle way, he becomes her emotional anchor, the steady center she didn't know she needed. That's why women often describe such men as mysterious or magnetic. What they're really sensing is emotional leadership. This calm confidence also changes how you flirt. Instead of trying to impress her, you create space for her to invest. You let her talk. You listen fully, not because you're waiting to respond, but because you genuinely observe. You might smile slowly, lean back slightly, or hold her gaze a little longer than she expects. Each movement tells her, "I'm not here to win you over. I'm here because I choose to be." Calmness is also a weapon against manipulation. When she tests you, and she will, she's not doing it to hurt you. She's doing it to see if you're real, if you can handle pressure, if your confidence is surface level or something deeper. And when you stay unshaken, you don't just pass her test, you rewrite the rules of attraction. Stoicism teaches that emotions are signals, not commands. You feel them, but you don't obey them. That's what makes the calm man so powerful. He experiences desire, tension, curiosity, but he never loses himself in them. And that restraint, that's the new sexy, the man who stays calm when others chase validation, when others overreact or overshare, becomes the gravitational center in any interaction. Women don't just notice that, they feel pulled toward it. So remember, this being calm doesn't make you boring, it makes you dangerous. Because calmness is confidence without noise. If you've ever felt that power within yourself, that quiet certainty type, "I stay calm." Now stay with me, because next we'll uncover how silence itself can spark attraction and how to use it to make her crave your attention without saying a single word. Number 9. Read her energy, not her words. Here's a truth that separates average men from those who understand female psychology on a deeper level. Women rarely say exactly what they mean, at least not with words. Attraction isn't something she explains, it's something she transmits. If you learn to read her energy instead of just listening to what she says, you'll start to see what most men never notice. Let me tell you about Ryan, a 32-year-old fitness trainer from Chicago. He once told me about a date with Sophie, a 29-year-old marketing consultant. Throughout dinner, Sophie said things like, "You're so confident, I could never keep up with someone like you." Most men would take that as rejection, but Ryan didn't. Instead of reacting, he paid attention to her tone, her body language, and her eyes. She was smiling, leaning in, playing with her glass. Her words said, "You intimidate me." Her energy said, "I'm drawn to you." That's the key. Women often communicate attraction indirectly. Their words might push you away, but their energy pulls you in. They test to see how solid you are, whether you'll get flustered or stay composed. If you react too quickly, you fail the test. If you stay calm, you pass without even realizing it. In modern dating, men have become too literal. They overanalyze texts, overthink replies, and take everything at face value. But attraction doesn't happen in text bubbles, it happens in presence. It's in the pause before she smiles, in how she touches her hair when she's near you, in the way her energy shifts when you speak confidently. Ryan understood this instinctively. He stopped trying to decode her sentences and started feeling her energy. When she leaned back, he leaned back. When she leaned in, he met her gaze but stayed silent just a little longer than usual. He mirrored her rhythm, not to manipulate, but to stay attuned. And by the end of the night, Sophie told him, "It's like you get me without me saying anything." That's when he knew he was reading her energy, not her words. From a Stoic perspective, this level of awareness is mastery of perception. Epictetus once wrote, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." But here's the deeper meaning. True listening isn't about hearing words. It's about sensing emotion. A Stoic man doesn't get distracted by the noise. He feels the current beneath it. Reading her energy also helps you avoid overreacting. When she's distant, it might not mean disinterest. It might mean she's testing your composure. When she flirts 1 minute and withdraws the next, it's often to see whether you'll lose balance. The calm man, the Stoic man, doesn't chase or question, he observes. And that observation gives him power. Women are emotional creatures. They want to be felt, not just understood. When you can sense her energy, when you can see the subtle shifts in her tone, her breath, her eyes, you make her feel seen on a level that most men never reach. So the next time you're talking to a woman, don't just listen, tune in. Feel her rhythm. Notice how her energy moves when you speak, when you pause, when you look at her. That's where attraction lives, between the words, in the silence, in the pulse of unspoken tension. Now it's your turn. If you're the kind of man who feels rather than overthinks, drop a comment and say, "I read energy." And keep watching, because next we'll uncover how mastering your own energy, not hers, is what truly makes her chase you. Number 10. Lead her into the game, then walk away first. Here's something most men never understand about flirting. It's not about keeping her attention the longest. It's about knowing when to leave the game. The man who can spark desire and then step away at the right moment leaves an imprint that lingers far longer than words ever could. Attraction thrives in tension, in what's almost there but not fully given. When you lead her into that emotional rhythm, when she's laughing, engaged, curious, that's when most men push harder. They overstay. They try to close too soon. But the man who walks away first, he plants a seed in her mind that keeps growing even when he's gone. She replays the moment, wonders why he left, and feels that quiet ache of unfinished business. That's the psychology of pull you leave before the high fades. Let me tell you about Chris, a 35-year-old sales executive from Austin. He met Lila, a 31-year-old artist, at a friend's rooftop party. From the start, the chemistry was strong. She teased him, he teased back, and the conversation flowed effortlessly. But here's where Chris did something different. Just when the connection hit its peak, her eyes locked on her smile, playful and open. He stood, smiled, and said, "I've got to run, but this was fun." Then he left. No over-explaining, no desperate goodbye, just quiet confidence. The next day, she texted first. "You disappeared on me," she wrote. He didn't chase, he simply replied, "I had to make sure you'd remember me." That's the art of leading and leaving. What Chris understood, and what few men do, is that walking away at the right moment isn't rejection. It's strategy. It's control. It shows her you're not addicted to her validation. And psychologically, that creates curiosity. She starts wondering about you. Not because you impressed her with words, but because you made her feel something and then took it away. From a Stoic standpoint, this move reflects detachment with intention. Seneca wrote, "He who is brave is free." Freedom in this context means you're not enslaved by the moment or by desire. You lead with confidence, you engage with awareness, and you detach before emotion takes control. That balance between passion and restraint is what makes you unforgettable. Here's the beauty of this dynamic. When you leave first, you're not ending the connection. You're extending it. You're letting her imagination fill in the gaps. Desire isn't built in your presence, it's built in your absence. Every woman knows this unconsciously. The most addictive moments are the ones that never fully concluded. But make no mistake, walking away doesn't mean disappearing. It means ending the moment on your terms. You can reappear later, but the timing must feel deliberate. When she feels your attention, then loses it, she starts to crave it. That's the subtle dance between control and surrender that drives attraction at a primal level. There's an old saying, don't chase butterflies. Tend to your garden and they'll come to you. Walking away is your way of tending that garden. It's the act of saying, I'm centered, grounded, and you can't pull me off balance. Women respect that energy because it's rare. It's not arrogance, it's mastery. Mastery of self. You're leading not just her, but the moment itself. So when you feel the chemistry peak, when her energy is high, her eyes are soft, and her guard is down, that's your cue. Smile, stand up and walk away first. Leave her with your calm, your confidence, and your mystery. Because when you exit like a man who could stay but chooses not to, she'll spend days hoping you come back. In today's video, you learned how to read a woman's energy, master silence, and use your calm confidence to create real attraction without ever trying too hard. Each principle you've heard isn't just about getting attention, it's about becoming the kind of man who naturally commands it. A man who leads with composure, speaks with purpose, and never chases because he knows that true power comes from self-control. This isn't just the art of flirting, it's the art of masculine presence, understanding psychology, emotion, and energy on a level that most men never reach. If you want to go deeper to truly master the psychology of attraction, emotional control, and communication, become a member of this channel. You'll get exclusive access to advanced lessons, practical strategies, and private insights that are only available to members. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss the videos that will help you grow into the calm, confident, and magnetic man you were meant to be. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.